Welcome back to the Difference Engine podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Oakes. Want to offer a choice for my business owners out there today. Want to offer a thought here. And as a business coach, people pay me to tell the truth, which is a very interesting perspective, right? You go to the doctor and pay them money to tell you what's wrong with you and then pay them more money to fix it. So people pay me money to tell the truth, and it's a fun predicament sometimes. The choice you face as a business owner with a team is to either be the hero or build the heroes. A lot of people who are solopreneurs, built it from the ground up, who are very invested in their business, bootstrap their business, consider themselves the hero of it. And the problem is their team does too. Their team thinks they're the hero. And that comes in all kinds of forms of like, hey, boss, what do I do with this? Hey, I'm stuck. My boss does better work than me. And so there's a mental cap on how good I can be. I don't want to outshine. Or you can choose to build the hero or build the heroes, because building the heroes entails that you're making the people around you better. Like you're looking for the best people, recruiting them, bringing them in, and letting them be smarter at their job than you are. It's a weird shift to make though, because especially if you bootstrap the business, especially if you're in trades, but even if you're in like maybe say professional services, a doctor, there's an idea that you have to be the most capable person in the business to hold your position, which is not true. The business owner is very much like the glue of the business or the magnet of the business that draws the skill and ability of the other people around them and holds them together in the organization. So how this plays out is the bottom line, the worst traits that you tolerate in business become the basement of your culture. And I was careful not to say the foundation of your culture, because the foundation is something you build on. It kind of has nice connotations to it. The basement is where the scary things live. It's the storage. It's the place that lets water intrusions come in and grows mold. The worst traits, the lowest standard of excellence allowed in the business becomes the basement of the business. It holds all the things and it might be a nice finished basement with a couch and a sound system in it. Not always, though. So the lowest thing that you tolerate, the lowest level of completion, of excellence, of attitude allowed in a business becomes the basement of the culture. And it always has to be dealt with. That space is always beneath the house. It's the substructure. It's everything that comes up into the actual house of the culture of your business. And I'm part of a larger organization called Action Coach. The founder of it is Brad Sugars, and it's the largest coaching organization. It's global. It's the largest coaching organization in the history of the world. And we have a giant market share. And Brad, when he was growing in his entrepreneurial journey, his dad pulled him aside one time because Brad was complaining about his business and saying, my people are this, my people are that, my team's not good. And his dad was like, Brad, you get the people you deserve, which is a very blunt way. He's Australian, so they have maybe even a more blunt way of putting things than Americans do. So, but after he reflected on it, I mean, like, it's very hard to lead. If you think of leadership in a very boiled down, like scale of 1 to 10, it's very hard to hold an organization of 8 and 9 leaders in terms of acumen and ability and self-worth. It's very hard to hold those people in your organization if you're a self-image of like a 4 or 5 in leadership. So you kind of cap yourself at how much you're willing to grow and develop yourself. And that's what Brad experienced, was that he was grown to a certain point and wanted a higher echelon of leaders and was hitting his head on his own capacity, and very humbly told that as a story to help other people grow and learn themselves of how to, raise their ceiling and bring on a better team. So that your team is a reflection of who you are. Like, people always joke, I've heard quite a few business owners joke about babysitting their team, or they're their kids away from home. But kids are a reflection of the parents, right? Of how they behave in public and what they're allowed to say and the standards they have. It's hard. It's very difficult to raise kids in a wild, feral state at home with very little discipline and then take them out in public and have them behave. It's not really how it works. So the internal standards, like, I see business owners try to maintain standards of being, like they want their employees to have or their team to have a certain forward-facing view when they work with customers. They want them to present a certain way and dress a certain way. But if that stuff's not maintained as a standard of excellence behind closed doors in the office at the level of one-to-one relationship, it's super hard to go out in public and be client facing and have everything buttoned up. It's not buttoned up behind the scenes. So why would we expect it to be better out here under pressure, working in the heat, working in the cold, working in the sun, or with unhappy clients in our face? How are we going to have better under pressure than we do behind closed doors if the training doesn't facilitate them to perform at that level? So the team, and I have business owner clients that have told me, I'm keeping my business now. I might sell it in the future, and I'm keeping it now because it's the best tool for personal growth that I personally have. Like, they're like, this is my best shot at developing myself, is the reflection my team provides to me, which is a very mature way of looking at it. I think it's a very sophisticated and honest way of approaching it, saying, hey, I walk in the office and there's 4 or 5 or 6 team members right here that are a pretty direct reflection of what I allow in my company and what I personally represent. And so they use that as sort of a barometer to how they adjust themselves to in reality. It's really cool. I teach this in a lot of my seminars. It's called the point of power. And if you can imagine there being a straight line across and one point on it, below the point is blame, excuse, and denial. And there's no power down there. That's what people call victim mentality. It's outsourcing your power. It's when this person gets their act together, or when that thing is out of my way, or that's really not that's not a big deal. I can keep going another day without dealing with that. Below the point, there's no power. And above the point, there's ownership, accountability, responsibility. And it kind of functions in tiers. Responsibility is like, I'll get the job done. Accountability is, I'll get it done and to a certain standard. And if it's not to a certain standard, you can tell me about it and I'll fix it. And ownership's the highest level, where I'll get it done to a certain standard and everyone can look to me to know if they do it to this level, it's done. So it's being the highest form is role model, the highest form is leader, where people don't even have to ask you. They can watch your work and say, that's a 10 out of 10 standard. And above the point is where the power lives. It's, I'm responsible for it. Now, that doesn't mean everything's your fault. That's an important thing to notice. And another important thing to notice is that all of us go below the point sometimes. All of us have emotional things we react to and emotional survival mechanisms that kick in, coping mechanisms that kick in to keep us safe from a human standpoint, our emotions and our psyche. So it's not like the worst thing to fall below the point. The trick is to realize when you fall below it and raise yourself back above it as soon as possible. And the easiest way to do that is with the question. You can't raise yourself up by beating yourself to pieces. I've done that before. So if you find yourself blame, excuse, and denial, just ask yourself, what can I take ownership of right now? And that'll move you out. But beating yourself up does not work. So I tell this to lots of my clients that they're the captain of the ship. Every time you're standing at the helm of the ship, steering with the wheel, guiding the rudder, every time you have to take your hands off to go trim the sails or weigh anchor or scrub the deck or carry cargo or load cannons, the wheel's not being manned. You can't outsource vision of your company. So for every time that you're helping your people or not that you shouldn't help, but every time you're redoing work or babysitting or doing the same work again that you could have had a system in place for but don't have yet, your wheel's unmanned. Your rudder is just doing whatever it wants in the current. So the goal of the business owner is not to be the best person in the field. It's to be the best person guiding the ship with vision, with proactive systems, with relationships, with leadership competence. That's a big mindset shift to make. It's a big mindset shift, especially if you were at one point in the business, the one person who did everything, because you still think of yourself that way, which becomes an identity issue, which becomes a fun thing to grow through, which is the bedrock of all my coaching. Hope this helps. If you have questions, reach out to me on all my platforms. It's The Difference Engine is my handle. Have a great week.